Hey guys, it's Jen. After all of the craziness of the holidays and all that we have been doing for everyone around us this last month or even two, I decided that, you know what? It is time for us to take a selfish because we haven't done that in so very long and we totally deserve it. So, this is another Just For Me episode of Reframing Me. Now, you should probably know by now that I am a huge fitness person. I always have been. I remember when, I couldn't have been more than probably fifth grade, I would guess, when I had all of my little get in shape girl gear. Do you remember that? How 80s was that entire concept, marketing tween size workouts and gear or toys, or I think it was made by like Hasbro or something. So it literally was toys. They had, do you remember like the sets? They came with a little visor. They had their little visors and they had leg warmers. I can totally picture the leg warmers. And they came in these sets with either, I had tiny weights or a jump rope, those baton ribbons, and there was like some kind of round circle thing. And of course, each one, if you will remember, came with a cassette that had the workout on it. I went back not long ago and looked for the old commercials and I found them on YouTube. The girls were so happy and they just looked like they were having so much fun. So, how could I not get hooked on it? Then I got bigger and I moved on to Gilad. Do you remember Gilad? He was the one in Hawaii on the beach doing aerobics with his whole little crew behind him. I remember I had such dreams of being one of them, like doing crunches in a leotard, on a mat, on the beach. So it was like my goal for a very long time. And then Denise Austin videos were totally a staple in my life. And I had the Cindy Crawford workout VHS tape, and I pretty much wore it out. I knew it from front to back and backwards, I swear. And to this day, every time I hear that Seal song, that Crazy, do you remember Seal's Crazy? I can picture the exact point in the workout that she played that song. Now, I didn't play sports as a kid. In the 80s, my family was more of a like sports are for boys. So here are some tap shoes kind of family. And I was not climbing the ropes in gym class. I remember like the kids who would like randomly scale all the way up to the top of the ropes. I can still remember the kids who could do that. Well, I was not one of them. I was picked pretty much near the bottom for kickball at recess. And some of the very worst days in my young life were the ones where we had to run the mile in gym class. But nonetheless, I developed such a love for fitness from all of those crazy videos. And now, it's funny as I'm saying that and talking about Gilad and Denise Austin and everything, I realized that I also, in addition to fitness, I love nothing more than wearing spandex. I live in leggings, like yoga leggings, and my absolutely favorite new item of clothing now are those one-piece spandexy unitard outfits. They're like leggings, but they have the tank top attached. I embarrassingly have them in like every color now that I can find them in, and I wear them constantly. I feel like a superhero in them. My husband, though, he thinks it's super funny. It's not. To every time I have one on, which is virtually all the time, he still asks me when my wrestling match is because why are you wearing a singlet? Haha, he's so funny, right? He's just jealous that he doesn't look so cute and he doesn't look like a superhero like I do. Anyway, it's like now that I think about it, those are super 80s workout video-y. So apparently I developed both my love of fitness and my love of spandex in my early years. But as I got older, I probably like many, many of you, like most teenage girls of the 90s and young women in the 2000s, I became unhealthily fixated on my weight and on my size. And eventually, fitness turned much more into a purposeful way to burn off any and all calories that I consumed or that I even considered consuming or was even near people who consumed. I had to burn them all off. And in high school and college, I spent a lot of time in the gym and at step aerobics or spin or kickboxing classes. I loved kickboxing classes. Oh my God. And then do you remember the videos? Do you remember Tybo? Oh my gosh, Tybo. What was his name? I can picture him. Oh, Billy Blanks. Billy Blanks wasn't, I think so. I'll have to look him up. I wonder what he's doing now. And then I was a fitness instructor and then a yoga instructor in college and in grad school. Then when the kids were small, I turned pretty much solely to running because I could do it with them. So I could load them up first in a single jogger, then in a double jogger, and eventually it turned into I got a triple jogger. And that triple jogger, if you haven't seen one, I kid you not, it was bigger than a smart car. And I know this because someone on our street at that time had a smart car. And it was always so awkward when we'd pass each other when I was out running and they were driving down the street because I was literally bigger than them. So, but eventually, as it does often happen, my knees revolted against me. I was running probably 30, 35, 40 miles a week with my running habit at that point, and my knees were just like, girl, no, you cannot keep this up. This isn't going to happen. So I bought a Peloton, which brings me up to date with my obsession with all things Peloton. The bike, the tread, strength classes, yoga, Pilates. I will seriously evangelize about Peloton to anyone who will listen. I vary my workouts constantly because I just love doing all of it. And so I want to do all of it. It's like, it's fun to me and I really want to try them all. Until recently, I have, before Peloton, but until recently, I've always looked at fitness as a way to be skinny. And, it's not, cool to say that you want to be skinny, right? But skinny had been my ultimate life goal since I was probably 10 years old. It's not saying it's right. I'm just saying that if I'm being authentic with you, it had been my life's goal. Thank God, though, that the world has somewhat revolted now against a focus on skinny. And although I do still need to fight the thoughts that pop into my head here or there, I will say that over the last number of years, I have realized that I'm not looking to be skinny. My goal is to be fit. My goal is to be strong, to be flexible. And, I have based for a number of years so much of my daily fitness journey on that J.H. Pilates quote. I think I even mentioned it when we talked about Pilates that said, you're only as young as your spine is flexible. And the older I get, realize, man, isn't that the truth? As I've gotten into my 40s, I really started to see the benefits of all of my years of varied fitness, so much more than I ever realized. I used to think, and I probably even said, I know I said, but definitely I used to think for so many years that I looked at working out for like an hour a day or whatever as a very small price to pay for looking the way that I wanted. Okay. But the reality is I'm sure that what I thought was it was a small price to pay for being skinny. All right. But now what I've realized is that it's a very small price to pay for how it makes me feel. It makes me feel strong. It makes me feel confident. It makes me feel capable and proud for doing very hard things. If I can hold a yoga posture that's uncomfortable for a prolonged stretch, I can do other things that I don't want for a prolonged time. If I can lift weights that I'm not sure I'm capable of and realize that, you know what? I am capable of it. I am strong enough to do it. I can also transfer that off of the mat and walk into situations that I think are too hard and realize, you know what? I am capable of doing those things too. It makes me feel good, both physically and mentally, to be able to stand up without aches or pains. The fact that sitting crisscross applesauce is literally my preferred way of sitting at almost 48 years old. That, the whole test to see if you can get off of the floor without using your hands from sitting. Those things make me feel so good to be able to do at this point in my life. And mentally, oh my gosh, benefits mentally for me are just unbelievable. It wasn't until my early 40s that I realized how necessary movement was for that mental health. All right, for my mental health. A day or two without working out in some way, without serious movement, and I am crazy. Okay? I own it. My family knows it. My mental health takes a beating when I am not moving. And physically, I don't feel like I'm in my late 40s at all. Movement is medicine. Movement makes you healthy, it makes you strong, and it keeps you that way. Now, Psychology Today did a big meta-analysis of all of the studies that spotlighted the role of movement in easing or even curing symptoms of various diseases and conditions. And while most of the studies don't, of course, prove that movement caused the positive changes, okay, correlation does not prove causation. Okay, we're scientists, we know that. They all did show that exercise and activity are highly correlated with improvements in these illnesses and in these conditions. The studies found that physical activity, okay, it improved things like arthritis symptoms. It improved arthritis symptoms by 40%. And it both alleviated symptoms of Parkinson's disease and slowed the progression of the disease. Exercise has been found to reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Both aerobic exercise and weight training cause striking improvements in brain health and in thinking skills, as well as they slow age-related memory decline. Movement is medicine. And you know what they say now, right? Sitting is the new smoking. Studies show that sitting too much for too long of a period of time increases your risk of dying early. And it's logical because it shows that it reduces the blood flow to the legs and it increases the risk of heart disease because it builds up plaque, or it allows for the buildup of plaque in your arteries. So sitting and not being active enough puts you at a higher risk for things like diabetes and depression and obesity, which of course then brings a whole slew of other conditions with it. And for women specifically, for us, sitting too much and exercising too little have been found to be related to literal biological aging at the cellular level. Movement acts as an anti-inflammatory. It boosts your mental health. It combats depression, stress, and anxiety. In fact, the Anxiety and Depression Association of America even has reported actual evidence that regular exercise literally works as well as medication for some people. I mean, obviously, not all of us, but it works as well in combating depression and anxiety for some people. And physical activity itself in general is associated with lower risks of 13 different types of cancer. Movement is medicine. Now, I told y'all about a month or two back that I changed up my workout. Maybe it's my get in shape girl roots, or it's probably more likely my history of an unhealthy obsession with calorie burn. But I am a cardio girl through and through. I don't care what it is. I love me some cardio. Cardio and core. Those are my favorite every day, all day if I could. Unfortunately, I have learned through both my personal experiences and in my research due to my personal experiences that for women in their 40s, you can still be in love with cardio, but sadly, cardio, it's outgrown us. Cardio has moved on to younger women. It does not have feelings for us anymore the way that it used to. It has moved on. We've grown apart. We may love cardio, but cardio does not love us. Strength training apparently is where it's at for us. All right. Both for caloric burn as well as for bone density. And of course, obviously for muscle mass too. So I begrudgingly gave up my 45 to 60-minute cardio sessions and I started what's called a split training routine. Hypertrophy, it's a program that I'm following right now on Peloton, of course, and it is awesome. I love it. Okay. I did 1 4-week session of it when I told you back that I started, and then I deloaded for 2 weeks over the holidays. Now, if you don't know, because I actually didn't know the term, deloading basically means lifting lighter weights or even doing cardio or doing yoga or Pilates or basically whatever other things you want to do for that week or so other than lifting heavy ass weights, which is what hypertrophy is. It's lifting as heavy of weights as you can for the required number of reps or the required amount of time and long rest periods in between so that then in the next set you can also lift heavy ass weights. So now here I am after deloading. Was anxious to get back and I started another 4-week session of the split program. And again, I totally love it. Not only do I see results physically, but I am telling you, nothing makes you feel more like a badass than slinging heavy weights. It makes you feel confident and capable of anything. Literally like a total badass. I mean, between wearing my unitard singlet and lifting my weights, I literally feel like a superhero. I will be honest and I will tell you that I do terribly miss cardio. I do. I miss it though. I still do a little bit of low impact cardio for the actual cardiovascular benefits, but not much at all. Not like I ever have done in the past. What I miss the most is actually movement. And yes, of course, I am moving. My heart rate does get up. I am sweating or whatever, lifting weights, but it's not the same. So for the new year, I decided that for my mental health, I'm going to go on walks each day. Now, not fitness walks, not, power walks as fast as I can go or whatever, like I would ordinarily if I chose walking for my cardio, like mindful walks. Ideally, I want to do these outside because I think the fresh air is good for me too, and the sun is good for me, but on the tread if I need to, based on weather or dark or time or whatever. What I am planning on doing and what I have been doing regardless is not pushing myself. My walks can be short or long depending what my day schedule is like, but I am not looking to be out of breath. I am not looking to break a sweat. I am looking to move my body. Hopefully to get outside for some fresh air and sun, but to get my blood flowing, my heart pumping, my lungs moving. Ideally for 30 minutes a day, but I'll take what I can get. I am not counting or considering this to be my workout. It is purely for my mental wellness. The interesting thing is that although I love, obviously, my Peloton workouts and music that I love has always been an absolute must for me when I work out, I don't like to listen to either of these things on my walks. For me, They both make me feel like pushing myself. And that's not what I'm going for here. I want mindfulness. So I also can't walk in silence, but I've decided that I much prefer listening to podcasts while I walk. So I invite you to join me on these mindful walks. Maybe you're doing it like me. Maybe it's purely for the mental wellness part of it. Or maybe you're going to want to pick up the pace a bit and use it for a cardio workout. Great. Maybe it's a good addition to your current fitness program, like how it is for me. Or maybe it can be your excuse to start on a fitness journey of your own. Maybe you're out walking your dog. So, okay, I actually miss walking my dogs. We have 3 dogs who we love so very much. And we are so lucky to have a big yard for them to run around in, so they don't need to be walked. I would take them anyway, but first of all, 3 is a lot to take, and especially because one of them is horrible on a leash. But we live kind of very, very near, like super near a dangerous, busy road. And I don't like to encourage them in any way that it's okay to head in that direction. Maybe I could train them that if they're walking with me, it's okay. But to me, it is totally not worth taking the chance. But maybe you do walk your dog. Great. Please bring me along and I can dog walk vicariously with you. Or maybe you listen to it in the car on your way to the gym or on your way wherever your little heart desires. It doesn't need to be for a workout because you are also a modern independent woman and you don't need anything to do with what you don't want to do. I 100% support your choices no matter what. I'm going through the archives and I am pulling out some of our oldies that I think you'll enjoy a refresher of. Or if you're new, you'll enjoy them for the first time. I'm going to be editing them down to either exactly 20 minutes or exactly 30 minutes so that they can be the perfect length for you to take with you on your walk. Now, don't worry, new content is still coming. Trust me, like I told you, I have way too many ideas to stop. But we can all use some refreshers, and what better way to get them than on our mindfulness walks, right? So join me because movement is absolutely medicine, 100%. And fitness doesn't seem like it matters until all of a sudden, one day, it becomes obvious how much it does. Thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with me. I know how valuable your time is, and I am always so grateful that you spend it with me. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends, and please take a second to rate it. Maybe even review it if you like it, like a 5, because apparently that's how the algorithms work and how we can get more attention to our lovely little community here. Please follow the show so that you don't miss out on any new content. Follow me and reach out to me on socials, on Instagram and TikTok. I'm Reframing Me. And on Facebook, it's Reframing Me. And please join the Facebook group, Reframing Me, the podcast community. Thanks again for coming along with me on this journey, both figuratively and now literally on our walks. Until next time, be well, communicate, and get out and move.